Welcome back to the FNAF card game. Today, in this video, we're going to be learning how to deck build. And if there's one thing that you need to learn from this video, it is synergy. Every card has their own use, but what really matters is how the cards connect together and make something more powerful than they are individually. So I'm going to take a random card from this pile right here, and then we're going to make a deck around that card. Alright? Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's get a unit. Alright, Twisted Foxy. This card is pretty interesting. It has two effects that we really want to look about. It's got Twisted Burial, which means when this unit is discarded, you may summon it in your office instead for its summoning cost. So there's a few things that we can use with this, and it also has Rush. This unit can the turn this unit is deployed, it can move and attack. So we're going to use both of these to our advantage when we make a deck. So let's delete this, and let's search this pile, and let's get into it. So first, whenever we have a twisted unit, I'm going to look for Twisted Visage. So I can select a friendly medium twisted unit and change its tribe to one of the tribes listed below and gain an additional effect from the tribe chosen. Alright, so usually we're going to use this to destroy a smaller medium unit or give ourselves deception. So I'm going to move the spells down here. This is how I usually build decks, is I have units at the top, spells at the bottom. And I have 3 lines of 10. Now we get to look at the rest of the twisted units to see if there's any others that we want to add. Usually, I like Twisted Bonnie and Twisted Wolf. Twisted Bonnie just helps exile important cards from your opponent's side of the field, and Twisted Wolf allows you to get more units with Rush on the field. So he is going to, with his Pack Hunter ability, summon a unit from your hand on an adjacent tile to this unit for its summoning cost. They gain the ability Rush. So both Twisted Wolf and Twisted Foxy are going to help us towards our ability of making a Rush deck, as well as all 3 of these helping to make Twisted Visage more viable. Next, we're going to look for other cards with Rush. So let's go down the board and pull out every card with Rush. That's Foxy. Balloon Boy doesn't have Rush, but I'll tell you why we want him later in a bit. Next, what else do we want? The Nightmares have Rush. Thumbtime Foxy has Rush. Let's see. Roxy has Rush. And Radioactive Foxy has Rush. I believe that's it. No, there's also Junior Foxy. So these 5 cards are every card in the game that has Rush, besides Twisted Foxy, which we already have. So, let's put them in this deck. Boop. 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 And boop. So if you notice here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units with Rush. That is a whole hell of a lot. So what we're going to want is something to make all of these people cheaper. So Balloon Boy has an ability called Rush Calling. Friendly units with the ability Rush cost 2% less battery to deploy and ignore damage the turn that they are deployed. So that means all of these units are going to be 3% cheaper while we have Balloon Boy on the field. So Balloon Boy is a necessity for this deck. Next, let's search this up again. And now we're going to look for a card called Bloody Rush. If you control a unit with the ability Rush, then give all your opponents, all your units that you deployed this turn the ability Rush, and 2 more attacks this turn. And 2 more attack this turn. I'm sorry, not 2 more attacks. It would be broken if it was 2 more attacks. Let's move it right there. Now let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Am I counting wrong? I sure am. It's 9 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9! Okay. One thing about FNAF card game players, we cannot count. Okay. Now let's look in here, look in here, look in here. This is something that I like to put in all my decks, just for a little help, is Take a Break. I also like to put in Candy, Candy, Candy for battery gain. And I also like to put in Golden Lock for battery gain. These 3 cards, Take a Break allows you to restore 7% battery, Candy, Candy, Candy allows you to restore 6% battery, and Golden Lock allows you to gain 4% battery for each time you've played the spell. So that's pretty helpful, some pretty helpful cards. Next, we have a lot of medium units, but what I'm noticing is this is a lot of things that are helpful during combat. But a lot of these have low health. So if we look at Twisted Foxy, 1 health. If we look at Foxy, 2 health, 3 health, 2 health, 3 health, 2 health, 2 health. A lot of these are low on health units. So when I see a lot of low on health units, I like to put in Security Puppet. So whenever any of these units are targeted, you can use Security Puppet's Protector's Will. When a friendly unit is targeted, this unit can switch locations with them and become the new targeted unit. So that way, whenever your guys are targeted by spells, you can have a big protector right here with Security Puppet. Next, I just want to show you that we have a ton of Foxies on the board. Twisted Foxy, Regular Foxy, Funtime Foxy, Radioactive Foxy, and Junior Foxy. When we see this many Foxies in a deck, I like to put in Withered Foxy. And Withered Foxy has a 20 mode. I'm not deciding if we want the 20 mode yet. He could be good in the deck, but let's just check what our options are here. So I just want to give a midway reminder to look at how every card in this deck connects with one another. All of the Twisteds connect to Twisted Visage. All of the Rush cards connect to Bloody Rush. All of the Rush cards connect to Balloon Boy. All of the low health units connect to Security Puppet. Everything has a place in this deck. Okay? For example, a unit I might not want to add is Dreadbear. Now, people might ask, why not Dreadbear? He's a pretty good unit. He has a way to get units back from the dead, and he can take control of enemy units. But what we can't factor in, what we also have to factor in is that we don't have anything to support him. People can take him out with a Regrets of Life or a kill card in an instant. So he needs an entire deck based around him to help support him. So what we're doing is we're building a deck to support rush units, not a deck to support Dreadbear. Alright, just give us... Let's look through this deck. And since we're running 3 Twisted units, I like to run Energy Frenzy. So what you can do with this is gain 7% battery, draw 3 cards. At the end of your next turn, lose 5% battery, and discard 1 card. So when you discard one of those cards, you can select one of those Twisted units, and then you can deploy them for their summoning cost. So it's a pretty helpful effect. Alright, next. Let's see. We have about enough room for 2 to 3 to 4 more units. So something that happens in a lot of decks is people might say, well, why don't you have cards like Flames of Life? Flames of Life is an amazing card. It's put in so many other decks. But I'm not going to put it in this deck. Why? Because it has to destroy a friendly unit. With all of our units here, none of them are worthy of being destroyed. This costs 6% battery. This costs 5%, 4%, 3%, 5%, 6%, 5%, 6%, 5%, 7%, 4%. All of these, if you're going to Flames of Life a unit, it should be 2% or less. That is my rule. I think a unit has to be extremely, extremely cheap for you to have to destroy it. So that is why I am not putting Flames of Life in this deck. I'm also not going to put Regrets of Life. Has the same issue. I don't want to destroy any of my units. For other decks who run a unit called Mini Arenas, or anything with multiple bodies, where when this unit is destroyed, it returns to your hand, these destruction effects don't really matter when you target them. But we're not going to run Mini Arenas. So these cards are not really what we're looking for. Okay. Let's see if there's any other things that we want to include. I am going to include Drive to Win for 5%. For this unit phase, gain 1% battery for each room your units enter with a maximum of 15% battery. If any friendly units gain additional battery this turn, gain an additional turn this unit phase, lose 10% battery. Alright. Let's move that right in here. So since all of our units have quite a lot of movement, most of them have at least 3 or 4, this is going to be perfect for Drive to Win. But I want to make sure that I can guarantee a full pop-off of Drive to Win. So I'm going to put in this deck Ignited Foxy. Ignited Foxy has 5 movement, and he has something called Triple Dash. So that means he can travel 15 rooms in one turn. So just with him, he can pull off a Drive to Win. So Drive to Win won't be a useless card if Ignited Foxy dies, but Drive to Win will still be useful in the deck, even if he dies. So Ignited Foxy gives us 1 Sin token with Flaring Sins. So we are going to put in a card that uses a Sin token. Our options are Embrace the Sin, Ignited Brethren, Soul Devour, and I believe that's it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe these are the 3 cards that are used with that use Sin tokens. Oh, I'm sorry. This doesn't use a Sin token, but Phantom Surge has special ability if you have a Sin token. Costs So Soul Devour costs 4% and 1 Sin token. Exile an enemy unit with an attack less than 4. Does not affect beyond units. Embrace the Sin. Increase the number of Sin. Cost 6% and 1 Sin token. Deal 4% damage to all enemy units. Ignited Brethren. Cost 4% and 1 Sin token. Destroy an enemy unit. Phantom Surge. Cost 5%. Destroy all enemy Phantom Tribe units. If you have a Sin token, this spell can be cast even if your spells are nullified. So the reason I'm going to go with Soul Devour instead of Ignited Brethren or any of the others, I'm going to first say Embrace the Sin, not that worth it, because its preparation effect is not that useful. We don't really care about having 2 more Sin tokens eliminating us, because we're not a Sin token based deck. So I'm just originally going to pop that out. Ignited Brethren, I'm also going to say it's we don't really need more search for Ignited Foxy. I think we get him when we get him, and if he doesn't come, if he has to come back, he has to come. And if we sorry, if he gets destroyed, he gets destroyed. Phantom Surge, deal 3% to a unit, deal 3 damage to an enemy unit. If you have a Sin token, this damage cannot be lowered or ignored. You know what? I think I'm going to put both Soul Devour and Phantom Surge in this deck. Soul Devour is awesome because it just deals with a lot of nasty graveyard effects. Like you can just choose a card in an opponent's graveyard and exile that card from the game. But Phantom Surge is also just really good for dealing with Shadow Tribe units because it can ignore damage reduction, and it can deal with bonbons and vents that are usually pretty hard to kill because they have 3 health. But with this, you can, and a Sin token, you can ignore that damage reduction. Alright, let's see. Is there anything else that I really want to have in this deck? There's not a lot of what am I saying? There's not a lot of larges, so I think I am going to include 20 Mode Withered Foxy into the deck. Next, I think I am going to I think I'm going to put in a little bit more card draw. What card draw does is it makes your deck a little bit more consistent. Just because there's less it makes it so there's less cards in the deck. And you're just drawing the cards you want faster. So I'm going to put in Phone Guy for 1%, and I'm going to put in the first for 2%. Perfect. Next, we're just looking for some counterplay to our opponents. So a big counterplay that I like to put in decks is Give Life. Give Life allows you to steal an enemy unit that's destroyed and take it to your hand. This is great for disrupting Exodia. It's great for disrupting Vanny recycling. It's great for Junior Puppet recycling. It's great to steal nightmares with Corrupted Dreams, just so that they can't have an infinite nightmare cycle. Another card that I like to do that helps me steal units is called Funtime Crew. Funtime Crew, if your opponent controls 3 or more units, then they must give you 2 units from their hand. So usually, if they already have 3 units on their field, and none of them are important, then you can probably bet that they have they've already played a lot of units, 1, which means they don't have a lot of units in their hand. And next, the units you're going to get are probably going to be pretty good. If those important units aren't already on the field. And if they are, then you can take them with Give Life. It's like a double-edged sword. If they're not on the field, you take them with Funtime Crew. If they are on the field, then you take them with Give Life. Pretty good combo here. Next, I'm going to put in the Fun Never Ends. This is a great card with Rush people. So normal summon a unit that costs 5% less battery or one of your opponent's entrance halls. You do not have to pay for that unit's deployment costs. So great. So this works great with a lot of rush units because you can basically just hit and run. You can hit their office and come right back to your office. It's like a free office attack, or if there's something really pesky in their vents or something, it's a free way to get in there. Another card I'm going to put in is Relocate Project. Relocate Project is great for when 20 mode Withered Foxy selects a room, and that room is really hard to get to. You can play Relocate Project to move that room really close to you. Or, I'll show you something else with the rooms. The 2 rooms that we're going to select for this deck are Show Stage FNAF 2 and Roxy Raceway. And if we take Roxy Raceway out from the deck, the main part we're going to focus on is the active effect. If a rush unit ends their turn in this room, they gain another turn. This effect only activates once per unit phase. Alright, so this effect is going to be really important. And if we make this room central to the board with our Relocate Project, it's going to be really helpful for just getting extra movement on the board, for getting extra, let's say, becoming a bigger threat, becoming a faster threat. That is what Roxy Raceway allows us to do. Alright. Next, I'm going to put in Mistakes Happens. Destroy an enemy unit. This is just a kill card. Nothing more hard than that. I like to usually have 1 hard kill card in the deck. That's usually either Regrets of Life or Mistakes Happen. Can also be Into the Void if you really want. You know what? Let's put in Into the Void. It's not that much more expensive, and you get to destroy a room. So, let's see that. Let's put that right in there. Into the Void. Destroy a room that is not an entrance hall or office. If there's a unit in that room when it is destroyed, destroy that unit. Replace that room with a void. If any unit enters the void, it is destroyed. So, pretty simple effect. It deals with a little bit more than Mistakes Happen does. The only problem is that Into the Void can't deal with Beyond units, but Relocate Project with 20 mode Withered Foxy can pretty much deal with any Beyond unit problem that you have. It's a pretty much cheap Ultimate Deception. I'm trying to think if there's the last card that we want in this deck. You know what? An old classic, Salvage Parts. Choose a spell from your graveyard and move it to your hand. That's a pretty simple effect. That means basically any spell card that we want can be played twice. So maybe another Drive to Win, another Golden Lock, probably another Drive to Win. Honestly, that is probably the best effect you're going to get. If we can get like another Ignited Fox, like, huh. You know what? I'm thinking about taking out Energy Frenzy or Bloody Rush, and I'll tell you why. These two cards are the cards that you can cut from the deck, or the most lenient cards that you can probably like get out of the deck. Because I want a card called Revenge. Revenge allows you to deploy a unit from your graveyard back to your office at half health. So it allows you just to get another unit in your office even when you're all out of units. So there is not a lot of units in this deck. I'm kind of wondering if it's worth it to just have another unit in your office. Yeah, I think it is. So most of these units have Rush. I think it's too many units that have Rush to put in Bloody Rush. So I'm going to take out Bloody Rush and I'm going to put in Energy Frenzy. And that is my process when I'm building a deck. So I'm going to go over the deck one more time just to show you how everything interacts with each other. Because the number one key is synergy. Everything has to work with each other. Everything. Everything has to work. Okay, so first, all of these Twisted units are going to work with Twisted Visage. And it's going to give you like another kill card, a very cheap kill card at that. Next, Energy Frenzy, when you discard a card, is going to work with all of these Twisted units. They are going to allow you to when you discard a card, you're probably going to have a Twisted in your hand to discard, and that is when you're going to summon him. Or you can just discard one of these, a trash card. I don't know. Like probably Into the Void if you don't see a big threat on the board. Yeah. Or Phantom Surge. Next, we're going to look at all of the Rush units. Foxy, Funtime Foxy, Roxy, Radioactive Foxy, Junior Foxy. These are and Twisted Foxy are literally all the Rush units in the game. Bar none, we have all of them. Everyone is here, okay? We didn't forget anybody. This is every Rush unit in the game. Which means this is a pure Rush deck. Which means we definitely want Balloon Boy with his Rush calling. Friendly units with the ability Rush cost 2% less battery to deploy and ignore damage the turn that they are summoned. This is huge, okay? Huge that we have something that makes all of our guys immune to damage the turn that they hit. Which means they can come out the board swinging, boom, bam, and they're all cheaper and they're all more deadly. Next, Security Puppet. Security Puppet protects all of these low health units. Like Twisted Foxy, he only has 1 health. Balloon Boy, he only has 2 health. Roxy, Foxy, Foxy again. All of these guys have low health. Alright, 2 health, 2, 1, 3. Security Puppet, a big chonkin' 9 health. With Protector's Will, that allows her to soak up all that damage that would be targeting our other units. Next, Ignited Foxy. Him combined with Drive to Win allows us to gain a lot of battery this turn, in 1 turn. So that combined with Golden Lock, Candy, Take a Break, Salvage Parts with Golden Lock. All of these cards are made for us to gain more battery and keep us in the game longer. Because if we're being honest, this is a pretty expensive deck. Alright, pretty expensive. Next, we're going to move on to 20 mode Withered Foxy and Withered Foxy. Withered Foxy can be deployed from any of these Foxies. It can be deployed from Twisted Foxy. It can be deployed from Foxy, Funtime Foxy, Radioactive Foxy, Junior Foxy, or Ignited Foxy. He can be deployed for 1% battery. It's pretty insane. But once we get him, we can get 20 mode Withered Foxy right on the board. When this unit is deployed, choose an opponent. They select a room that is not an entrance hall or office. That room's passive effect becomes, when 20 mode Withered Foxy enters this room for the first time, gain 20% battery. So this is another big battery generation card, and it's a big boss monster to worry about. Next, Relocate Project. Relocate Project is really great for having 20 mode Withered Foxy. Remember that room X marks the spot? We can teleport that room with Relocate Project. And let's say someone wants to destroy that room with Into the Void. Relocate Project can counter that when a room is being targeted by a destruction effect. Ignore the effect. Alright, the fun never ends. The fun never ends allows all of our rush units to get right up close and personal and attack the office exactly when we're trying to get there. So, like, Radioactive Foxy is probably the biggest target for this. Probably Funtime Foxy and Foxy are other good targets, but Radioactive Foxy is pretty insane with the fun never ends. You get a 2% reduction on him, plus, he gets right in that office. Funtime Crew, just a good way to steal units from your opponent. Give Life, another good way to steal units from your opponent. These are just card disruption in your opponent's decks. Same with Into the Void, disruption of your opponent's decks. Soul Devour, disruption of your opponent's decks. Ignited Foxy gives it more versatility. Phantom Surge, disruption of your opponent's decks. Ignited Foxy gives it more versatility. The first, Phone Guy, Artist Card Draw. Revenge, helps you get something out late game that you can probably, like, another, I'm guessing Balloon Boy for more battery, plus you get the Rush Calling again if he ever gets destroyed, or maybe just a Radioactive Foxy, I don't know. Next, Golden Lock, we already went over that, that's battery generation, and that's pretty much it. This is my Rush deck, okay? This is what I came up with, and it's not any of the pre-made decks. I mean, I also made the pre-made decks, so the pre-made decks are not, I didn't base this off of anything, I just had, and I just started with one card, Twisted Foxy, and I made an entire deck based around him. Alright? This is how you make decks. Everything works with each other. You're not just going to have, like, I don't know, random Spring Bonnie in here. He's not going to show up. Why? Because he doesn't fit with all the Rush archetype that we're building. Every one of these, I think now is time to work with the rooms. Because let's show you how many of these cards work with this room. Twisted Foxy, Foxy, Funtime Foxy, Roxy, Radioactive Foxy, Junior Foxy. Every single one can take advantage of Roxy Raceway. It's insane. The next room we're going to look at if the game ever decides to load is Show Stage FNAF 2. Let's look at this. FNAF 2 units are immune to damage for 1 turn if they're deployed in this room. Plus they cost 3% less, which means we can get Withered Foxy and 20 mode Withered Foxy in this room. They're immune to damage. Plus, they cost 3% less. It's pretty freaking insane. So if we don't deploy Withered Foxy as a counter when one of these Foxies dies, then we can have them in the FNAF 2 show stage. It's also a spot for Balloon Boy. It's a pretty neat idea, if I don't say so myself. This is the idea for a Rush deck. It's all about swarming your opponents. Alright, And I think people get lost in adding cards that they like and just think that they're good in every deck, no matter what. Like, I love the card Mini Arenas, but I would never put it in this deck. Or I love the card, I don't know. There's a lot of cards that I love that I don't put in every deck, okay? The only card I really put in every deck is Take a Break. That is like the guaranteed card that I will put in every deck just because it's gained 7% battery. But like Spring Bonnie, he's just not the best in every single deck. You want things that combo with him, like Golden Lure. Here, let me look that up real quick. Golden Lure. If you control the unit Spring Bonnie, destroy all small units on the field and gain a Sin token for each one destroyed. So this is a way that Spring Bonnie gets a little more useful and points you in kind of a direction to making your deck, because you're like, oh, maybe I also need Fredbear, and you have both of those in your deck. And that's where you get something like a creation deck that I have built out here in the 20 decks zone. Alright? And don't be afraid to use these as like a starting map. A lot of the decks have already been mapped out. So what's good to have is sometimes you just say, well, maybe I want Corrupted Dreams with a little bit of Sin token sprinkled in. Or maybe I want a Phantom deck with a little bit of Rush sprinkled in. Or a little bit of Miniature Creation sprinkled in. Alright? That's a way for you to get more creative and make like hybrid decks, okay? Because a lot of things, you only need a little. You can start with a pre-made and make it your own. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't always have to be starting from the bottom. All right, this is my idea for a rush deck, but what I would do is I would look through all the cards. I know there's a lot of cards, but I would find a card that speaks to you and try and build a deck around that. And you know what? If you're in the Discord, I would be happy to help you make a deck. I am here. Reach out to me. I have no life. Alright? My life is the FNAF card game. Believe it or not. And I would enjoy nothing more than to help you bring your deck idea to fruition. Okay? I think with that, I'm going to sign off. There's nothing more I really have to say. If I think of anything more, I'll add it to the description or the comments below. Make sure to have fun, alright? And for me, winning is fun, alright? So make sure you win. Get out there and give yourself the best chance you have to win with making a great deck, alright? Signing off. See ya. Bye-byes.